Have you ever thought about, a spiritual journey like
Yeah.
Umrah, but then you start thinking about planning it, international travel, all the details, and it just feels, well, overwhelming.
Oh, absolutely. The logistics alone can be daunting, never mind finding someone you trust.
Exactly. It can feel like a real maze. So today we're doing a deep dive into something specific excerpts from a document called Qiblatain, Your Trusted Umrah Companion. Our ambition, really, is just to unpack what makes this service tick, how they tackle those anxieties we just mentioned. We want to pull out the key stuff. For anyone curious about a more supported spiritual trip, let's get into it.
Yeah, and what's really interesting, I think, is how Qiblatain presents itself. It's not just, we book your flights. It seems much more like they're aiming to be a partner for what is, let's face it, a profoundly important journey for people.
A holistic partner, yeah.
Exactly. We'll dig into the specific promises they make, which should give you a clearer picture of their whole approach, how they try to ease those worries.
Okay, great. So the first thing that kind of jumps out is this commitment they call faith-focused service. Now that sounds good, but what does it actually mean in practice? It's more than just knowing Umrah's religious, right? How's it different from, say, a regular travel agent?
Well, it implies a service that's really built around understanding the sacredness of the pilgrimage. A faith-focused approach suggests they're thinking about things like prayer times, making sure dietary needs are properly halal, maybe even offering spiritual resources or insights.
Ah, okay. Things a standard agency might just completely miss.
Precisely. They wouldn't even be on their radar. So this directly speaks to the traveler's core reason for going. It's about embedding that understanding into the service itself.
That makes sense, that deeper level of understanding. And sort of linked to that, the source mentions they're USA-based. For travelers over here, how much of a difference does that actually make, having local support for such a big international trip?
Oh, it can be a pretty big deal. Think about it. You need help. Maybe a visa question pops up or there's a flight issue. Trying to sort that out across, multiple time zones with someone overseas can be a nightmare.
Yeah, I can imagine. Waking up at 3 a.m. to make a call.
Right. So a USA-based team means, well, easier access. They work on hours that work for you. They understand the U.S. market, maybe even specific consumer protection things. It just cuts down a layer of stress.
Okay, yeah. That local touch point definitely adds some peace of mind. And speaking of peace of mind, they also really lean into being trustworthy and transparent. They promise things like no hidden charges, honest pricing, and halal hospitality. Now, in travel, unexpected costs can be a real headache. Why are these specific promises so important for someone planning Umrah?
Transparency is just vital, isn't it? Especially for a trip like this, it's often a huge investment, both financially and emotionally, spiritually.
Right.
So no hidden charges directly tackles that fear of getting nickel and dimed. And halal hospitality, well, that's interesting too. It's probably not just about the food.
You think it's broader?
I think it signifies a commitment that all the services, accommodation, maybe transport, guides align with Islamic principles. It's about ethical reassurance, really, going beyond just the price tag to ensure the whole experience feels right. That kind of integrity, well, it's a major selling point.
That really clarifies it. Knowing the stakes,
Yeah,
transparency and ethics become crucial. So, okay, if we take that promise of trust and combine it with their mention of certified partners in Saudi Arabia, what does that give the traveler when they actually get there?
well, that's the bridge, isn't it? Between the planning here and the reality on the ground there. Working with certified, authorized people in Saudi means they know the local scene.
The rules, the culture.
Exactly. Regulations, sensitivities, logistical hurdles. They're working with folks who are established, who are vetted. It helps avoid those nightmare scenarios you sometimes hear about: substandard hotels, unreliable buses, that sort of thing. It's about ensuring things run smoothly and safely in a place that's likely unfamiliar.
Okay, so it connects the dots, covers both ends.
Yeah.
And then the last point they highlight is personal guidance, from visas through to spiritual preparation. This sounds like they're really holding your hand through the process.
It does sound that way, yeah. Not just a booking engine, but an actual guide.
Right.
And covering both sides, the practical stuff, like visas, which, let's be honest, can be complex, and the spiritual readiness aspect. It really underlines that holistic idea we talked about earlier. The whole aim seems to be minimizing that pre-trip anxiety, letting you actually focus on the spiritual experience itself, not get bogged down in paperwork and logistics.
So putting it all together, what does this mean for you, the listener? It seems pretty clear. Qiblatain is really focused on delivering, well, peace of mind, a deep sense of it. And they seem to achieve that through this mix of Genuine spiritual understanding, having that accessible U.S. base, being upfront and transparent, using reliable partners on the ground, and offering that personal guidance all the way through.
And if you zoom out a bit, connect it to the bigger picture, it really shows how these specialized services, the services that truly understand a very specific need, can make a huge difference. They can turn something potentially really stressful into something deeply fulfilling.
That's a great point.
Which kind of leads to a final thought for you to mull over. When you think about undertaking a journey that's really important to you, personally or spiritually, what is it beyond just the basic arrangements, the flights, the hotels? What level of that integrated support, that integrity, really matters most for your own peace of mind?